Teachers play a significant role besides parents in times of crisis, and hence there is a greater need to understand situations from a child's perspective. This video module focuses on the key roles and responsibilities of teachers in facilitating child-centered disaster risk reduction, development of school disaster management plan, facilitation of children participation, conducting mock drills on regular basis, community participation in school management, and identification of needs and infrastructure preparation.
Hi, I'm Muthu.
I'm Chitra.
Friends, do you know our teachers play an important role in supporting students' psychosocial well-being, especially after disasters such as floods, cyclones?
Our school teacher Meenakshi Madam is here to explain the key roles and responsibilities of teachers in facilitating child-centered disaster risk reduction in schools.
Namaste children. Disasters have a strong impact on psychological and social well-being of children. Death of loved ones, injury, displacement and loss of home can lead children to despair, loss and trauma. As a teacher, it is important that we are aware of the psychosocial effects of disaster on children.
Our teachers are one of the few trusted adults with whom we children interact on a daily basis. For us, our teachers are not only someone who are knowledgeable, but they are our role model too.
You are right, Muthu, and for this reason, it becomes even more important that we teachers are in a better position to assist children in their psychosocial recovery.
Meenakshi Madam, please explain to us how a teacher assists students in their psychosocial well-being.
Yes, Chitra, I will explain. When a disaster strikes, parents are in shock and busy getting everything back on track.
Parents, in a post-disaster situation, may not be the best judges of the psychosocial well-being of their children. And being young, children are not emotionally and physically strong enough to stand an impact and trauma related to any disaster, and this leads to fear, anxiety, and shock among children. Teachers in such a situation play a crucial role as they should organize activities for children even if they are not formal school activities. This will provide space for children to deal with the effects of the disaster by reducing their trauma, fears, stress and anxiety, as they will get busy playing with their peer group and engaged in playing activities. Back to normal is important and it can take time. It is important here to emphasize that during crisis or a traumatic event, what a person experiences is a normal reaction to a very abnormal situation. So, there is a need to assure them that the situation will improve and that things will get back to normal. Assuring children is even more important as this will help in addressing their stress. While assuring, teachers should also encourage and work towards re-establishing normal routines as soon as possible, such as going to school, playing and engaging in hobbies, as bringing normalcy of daily rhythm mitigates the impact of the crisis faster. While giving time to children to recover, teachers should also help children to express their feelings and thoughts about the disaster. When children return to school after a disaster, they should not be immediately rushed back to ordinary class schedules. Instead, children should be given time to talk about the event and express their feelings, either in front of the entire class or in a small group session. Teachers should initiate group discussions about de-stressing events that they may or may not have experienced, because even those who have not endured such events would have heard about them, as this will help affected children feel less alone in their suffering.
Teachers must allow students to discuss about what happened so that they can begin to master the events. At the same time, do not ask students to tell their own individual stories. Tell students that it is okay to feel afraid, confused, angry, and guilty. These are the normal responses to any crisis or tragedy. Ask whether students have questions. Remember to listen carefully and be honest. Answer only the questions that students ask you. Admit when you don't have specific answers and when you are unsure yourself.
Good education is already psychosocial work. Teachers should work to create a comfortable, supportive learning environment where students feel safe. Teachers can help the students concentrate by having a well-planned lesson with clear learning objectives, a clear beginning and an end, accompanied by review of what has been already learned, and appropriate teaching aids. The time after a disaster might also be a good time for learning about disaster and disaster preparedness and for engaging the community on becoming more prepared and resilient.
Teachers must try to monitor the behavior of students who are showing signs of trauma and distress. School teachers and other staff members should have disaster and emergency response skills, and school must have emergency provisions and should be prepared to organize disaster response using a standard disaster management system. School drills should be held at least twice yearly to practice and improve upon disaster mitigation and preparedness skills and plans.
Meenakshi Madam, what is a school disaster management plan and how it can be facilitated?
Muthu, a school safety plan is a major instrument of disaster prevention at school and community level as well.
Safety of school structure and their basic facilities such as water points and toilets are critical for effective post-disaster response. In order to make sure that teacher, students and parents understand the sources of risk at the school and community level, the active involvement in school-based disaster management plan, including disaster prevention plan, is of critical importance. Their involvement has to be for the purpose of risk assessment, resource mapping, formation of disaster task teams, and allocations of roles and responsibilities among teachers, other school staff, students, and their parents. The objective of the school disaster management plan is to jointly assess the vulnerability and capacity of schools and identify disaster preparedness and mitigation measures. The school disaster management plan is prepared by School Disaster Management Committee with support of others.
Plan for the school disaster management team's training includes mock drills and updating of the plan, do's and don'ts of various disasters, contact details of the local authority, MRCS, NGOs, doctors, hospitals, etc. and school and community maps.
The school map is an essential part of the plan and requires a detailed situation analysis of the school.
The map should show the following components.
All physical structures such as buildings, classrooms, staff rooms, library, toilets should be strong and disaster-proof. Identified undisturbed evacuation paths which are used in an emergency. Identified safe place, assembly point within or outside the school premises where students can be evacuated. Classroom evacuation maps might be included to show the process of evacuation of students by columns beginning at the tables next to the exit. Identified places to keep emergency equipments, communication system, fire extinguisher, fire hooks, sandbags, first aid kit, etc.
Every school staff member should receive training on various skills such as building and area evacuation, first aid, search and rescue, student supervision, shelter, nutrition and sanitation.
Schools should maintain first aid supplies and fire suppression equipment, emergency water, nutrition and shelter supplies for a minimum of 72 hours and preferably 1 week. Schools should have and practice policies and procedures for disasters and emergencies, and should adopt standard operating procedures to address each known hazards. The standard operating procedures include building evacuation and assembly, shelter in place, lockdown, and family contact and reunification procedures.
School should practice the procedures to ensure safe student reunification with the emergency contacts identified in advance by parents or guardians.
Only effective mitigation measures and preparedness initiatives together can help prevent and reduce the impact of disaster.
So, as teachers, let us know our key roles and responsibilities in supporting students' psychosocial well-being and facilitating child-centered disaster risk reduction in schools.
Thank you, Meenakshi Madam.